This place was built up on monastic foundations, but as our first reading reminds us, built on the foundation of Jesus Christ. I'm sure we're all amazed by this place, its beauty, the skill of generations of craftsmen. But it's also about community and stability, which are themes essential to Benedictine life. This place was founded in the year 597, as we've heard. The monks didn't come until about 997, but even then, that's 1,028 years ago, showing us that our faith endures. The monks that lived here according to the rule of Benedict, and many religious people still live out this rule. They were faithful to that rule, and I've got a copy of that at home. You can get modern copies of it. And I found one part of the rule which I thought was really helpful when thinking of buildings and faith. So here's part of chapter 4, which is called The Tools of Good Works. It begins with a summary of the law, and then continues with the commandments, and then it says, by way of instruction, using biblical text from the New Testament, the sayings of Jesus. It says this: to do no wrong to anyone and to bear patiently wrongs done to oneself, to love one's enemies, not to render cursing for cursing, but rather blessing, to bear persecution for justice's sake, not to be proud, not a wine bibber, not a glutton, not somnolent, not slothful, not a grumbler, nor a detractor, to put one's hope in God, to attribute to God and not to self whatever good one sees in oneself, but to recognise always that the evil is one's own doing, and to impute it to oneself, to listen gladly to holy reading, to apply oneself frequently to prayer, daily in one's prayer with tears and sighs, to confess one's past sins to God. Well, there's a lot more of that kind of aspect of the rule in chapter 4, but most of it's as helpful today, I think, as it has ever been. And then at the end of the chapter, Benedict sums it up like this: behold, these are the tools of the spiritual craft. If we employ them unceasingly day and night, and on the day of judgment render account of them, then we shall receive from the Lord in return that reward which he himself has promised. Eye hath not seen, nor ear heard what God hath prepared for those who love him. Now the workshop wherein we shall diligently execute all these tasks is the enclosure of the monastery and stability in the community. Don't often think of churches as workshops, but perhaps we should. I wondered whether we could think of our own churches and communities and reflect on the efforts we make to build and provide stability. First, we should think and remember the foundation is Jesus Christ. We continue to build on what has been entrusted to us, but always keeping our sights set on him who gave himself, who laid down his life as that foundation, that we might live. Second, the spiritual tools that we have been given through our churches and in all that we have inherited in order to maintain faith, these tools need to be well used, not rusting away in the shed. All these tools that Benedict mentions: prayer, blessing, confession, patience, humility, we need to be conversant with them. We are not enclosed as the Benedictines were, but we do focus on our places of worship and the places we live in as we live out our faith. This is where, or West Grinstead is where, God has called us to be. So let's live out our calling in the 21st century, looking forward always.